Alright, what's up everybody? This is Orsa, and this is going to be my tutorial on how to manipulate the Enigma shot for the Mega Man X5 RTA category of all stages. So, the first thing I want to do is I want to very briefly discuss how RNG works in this game so you have an idea on why this is going to work. So, you can see my RAM watch on the side here. X5 has two RNG byte values that it uses to calculate randomness in this game. These bytes will cycle in a consistent manner every frame of gameplay, so that includes the demo. So basically anytime that I'm playing the game or the demo is being played, the RNG will cycle on every single frame. It also cycles on anytime I dash and spawn a dust cloud, anytime I attack, anytime they jump, and I believe there's a couple other triggers in the game that I'm not 100% sure on. It also cycles occasionally on menus, but that's not super important for how this manipulation works, so we'll disregard that for now. So the first thing we needed to do to make this manipulation work is we need to get a consistent set of RNG values. One way to do this is to power the game on. You can see I'm on the power-up screen here, and it's set to 1, 0. And as soon as I let the game get a little bit more into the boot sequence, the RAM values will be set to 55 and 13. There we go. So that's one way to get a consistent RNG value. That's not how we're going to do it though. The way we are going to do it is we are going to let the demo mode start on the main title screen. Whenever the developers were including the demo, they made sure that before the demo launches that it will always set to a consistent RNG seed in order to prevent the demo from desyncing on things like health drops or ammo drops. So we will be abusing that to get a consistent frame that works for the Enigma cannon. So you can see I have my Lewis script up here. If you're into math, essentially the way that the cannon generates whether it works or not is it looks at this first 1 byte value here, and it takes the remainder modulo 64, and depending on how many parts you have, it looks at if that remainder is above a certain threshold, whether it's, I think it's somewhere between 8, 12, and 16, depending on how many parts you have. And if it's below that threshold, it works, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. So I'm going to let the game power up here. Skip the opening cutscenes. They don't actually affect RNG, but they will affect what demo you get, so you want to make sure you skip them. Okay, and then I will let the demo start. And then this Lewis script I have up here, this is actually thanks to Zam. But it will tell me on every single frame, it'll run the calculations the right number of times and then tell me if I launch the Enigma cannon, if I quit the demo on this frame and then launch the Enigma cannon, will it work or not? So you can see it'll cycle here. You can see my RNG cycling on every frame. And most of the time the cannon's going to fail, but sometimes it's going to work. So we were looking for a very consistent RNG seed here. So I'm going to let the demo play out for a little bit. Let X do his thing. Now right about here, okay. So once you get to about this point in the demo, once you see this green shot come out here, you want to be getting ready, because immediately, well not immediately, but very close to after this, there's going to be a 6-frame window where you can cancel the demo and get a good Enigma value. So you'll see them here. So these two lemons come out, and then X is going to jump. And very early in the jump animation, there is a 6-frame window where you can cancel the demo, and you will get it to work. So you'll be able to see it here on my Lewis script. X jumps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you cancel the demo during any of those 6 frames, the RNG will be in a beneficial spot for the cannon to work. So let me just demonstrate that. I'll frame advance here. This one will work, so I will start holding start. That'll get me a good cannon value. And then, I hope I have a save here. This should work. So this is at the start, so my chances are slightly lower, but this value should still work. You see the RNG hasn't cycled at all yet since I quit the demo, but as soon as these Mavericks pop on screen, it's going to cycle 8 times. The game randomly decides what order to show these stages in, so since there's 8 Mavericks, it has to call them 8 times to place them on screen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then it will cycle one more time before it decides whether I succeeded or failed. Please disregard the low script right now. And there's a success. So essentially what all this comes down to is nothing more than canceling the demo on the correct frame to make this work. Okay, so I'm going to switch over to actual gameplay now. Give me one moment. Alright, so here we are. I'm at the point in the run where I want to shoot the Enigma shot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quit to main menu. And then I'm going to hang out here and wait for the demo to start. Should also mention that this manipulation will work on both the English and Japanese versions for the PlayStation 1, and it also works on the PC port. The X Collection versions on PlayStation 2 and GameCube are significantly different as far as how they're constructed, so this manipulation will not work the same. It is likely that you can still manipulate the cannon somehow, but we don't have anything consistent for those versions. Alright, so I'm going to attempt to hit the 6-frame window here in real time. Okay, that should work. Okay, and assuming I've hit the correct frame, I'll go to continue and continue from previous data to get back into the game, and then launch the cannon. There we go. Easy every single time. So I'm gonna now show you guys some visual cues that you can use for this. Let me pull up one of these images here. So this is actually the first frame that the Enigma will work in the demo. And this is on the fade out. Okay, so once you hit start on the demo screen, the game will go a couple more frames, and then it'll like freeze and start to fade out. This is what you're looking for on the fade out. Okay, this is the first frame of animation that the demo will work when it's paused on the fade out. Okay, so here's some things you can look for. Okay, if you see X starting to jump with his buster still out like this, so you can see his back foot is off the ground and his buster is still out, that's good. Okay, one thing that I look at here is, and I know you can't see it, I'm like mousing over it, but this shot from this enemy that is moving towards X, it lines up pretty perfectly with part of the background. Okay, and there's this little gray part in between the two brown parts of the background. Whenever the shot is inside there, then that's the visual cue that I use to see it. Okay, you can also tell by where X is at in his jumping animation to determine whether it'll work. So that's the first one. Let me show. I'll post all of these in a link below. I have screenshots of all 6 frames, but this is the last one right here. Okay, so you can see the shot is moved entirely through the gray part and is now in the second brown part. X is pretty significantly through his jump animation, and his foot is just above the press start button. If you're later than this, then you're too late. If you're anywhere in between this and the previous one I showed you, you're fine. So you'll have to come up with your own visual cues to make this work. I personally like the enemy's bullet a whole lot, but really it's going to be up to you. And I'll post these in an Imgur gallery below the video, all 6 of these, so you can practice and hopefully get a little bit consistent at this. But it is six whole frames, which is 1/10 of a second, so that shouldn't be too bad to be consistent at. But yeah, anyway, I think that's about it. If you have any questions, you can feel free to ask in the comments. You can @ me on Twitter, send me a Twitch DM, whatever you need. But this is really cool, and I'm really excited for the future of this game involving these manipulations. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.